let's get back to Lions here. The Lions have restructured Jared Goff's contract. So the new Jared Goff deal, the cap hit for 2026 is now $37.6 million. And then after this year is when it really gets weird. It's been transferred to a signing bonus. The cap hit in 2027, $62 million. And in 2028, $69 million. You know what this tells me? The Lions are going all in 2026. Expect some moves to be made here. Now, they could just use this money to bring back their own guys because, of course, there's still that big-time draft class that has had a lot of hits so far. Those guys got to get paid, extended at least. Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, blah, blah, blah. Brian Branch as well. I don't really expect the Brian Branch deal to get done just because of the injury that he has. But there are major needs for this Lions team. And yesterday they bring back some guys. They bring back Rock Yassin, who is a depth piece at corner that they certainly are probably going to need this season with whatever the hell's going on with Terrion Arnold and both of the safeties having their injury issues. Isaiah Pacheco gets brought in to be the RB2. I like that move. I think it's a pretty good one. $1.8 million for Pacheco, whereas Montgomery was going to be making about $9 million this year. I think that's a pretty good deal. He's not as good as Montgomery, of course, but to be the RB2, let Gibbs fully swing into things like the RB1 we saw him last year. I think it's a cool move. Malcolm Rodriguez is brought back. Teddy Bridgewater's back. All right, that's pretty cool. But let's talk about that $32 million created for the Lions. I've got a few names for you. No, one of them is not Max Crosby. Let's get that out of the way right now. I've already seen the Lions' reaction. Hey, this means the Lions can swoop in and trade for him. Right, they're going to trade for a guy who just failed his physical, and a team that lost 10 guys in Baltimore was willing to cancel this deal. So clearly there's some injury stuff going on with Max Crosby. They're not trading for him. I do think he's going to go for a less of a price. Trey Hendrickson, a name that Lions fans have been talking about for not just the last couple days, the last couple years, just signed with Baltimore 2 seconds before we started the show. So there's the Max Crosby replacement for Baltimore. No, it's not either of those guys. I'm going right back to the offensive line. The left tackle spot is open. Taylor Decker is still a free agent out there. Please don't sign with the Bears. That would be really frustrating. Rasheed Walker, the left tackle of the Green Bay Packers, is who I've got my eyes all over. Former 7th-round pick in 2022 of the Packers. Started 48 of 51 games over the last 3 seasons at left tackle. A pass block win rate of about 94% over the last couple of seasons. That's ranked 11th among almost 70 qualified left tackles in the sport. He's a big athletic run blocker, and that's mainly what the Packers fans and Packers beat writers write about Walker. And the big thing is he's just the best tackle available. If we just want to make this as simple as possible, he's the best offensive tackle, not just still available, but coming into free agency, he was the best guy that's available. You saw Braden Smith, who's a 30-year-old, get a 2-year, $25 million contract from the Houston Texans. He was going to be one of the better guys that was there. But Walker is young. He's 26 years old, just turned 26, only played 4 years in the league. It was an awesome pick by Green Bay. Yes, I'm giving Green Bay some credit here. I don't like it. They got him in the 7th round and turned him into a pretty good starter in this league. And with this created money for Detroit, yes, I know that they have to pay their own guys. And I'm just happy that clearly Brad Holmes and the rest of this Lions front office is willing to go all in here. We had been waiting for this restructure to happen. It had been the hot topic for Detroit over the last week or so. When are they going to create cap space? They have so many different holes, and they're not going to use all of that money that they do create on one guy, on Max Crosby, on Trey Hendrickson, which people wanted. That's not going to happen. They still have so many needs. They still need to get another edge rusher. They still need to add more depth in the secondary because we don't know who's going to be playing there. Who's going to be the linebacker to replace Alex Anzalone? Is Malcolm Rodriguez going to be in a much bigger role this season? Who knows, because they brought him back. But Rasheed Walker, the left tackle of the Green Bay Packers, is absolutely target number 1 for Detroit. They want to get this offensive line back to where it was. I don't know if you're going to get your left tackle of the future at pick 17. In an ideal world, you do. That'd be sweet. But I don't know. Elite tackles, they usually don't fall outside of the top 10. So getting them in the middle of the first round, maybe you have a shot, but I would rather not take that risk. The Lions are going all in for 2026, John, and I'm just pumped up because we had been waiting for this restructure to happen for quite some time, and we didn't know if it was just going to be Goff or the potential Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell deals to get restructured, but this is a clear indication from Brad Holmes that they're willing to go for it.
Yeah, and not a bit, because it's, breaking down salary cap and stuff like that, but in terms of when we've talked about how the Lions and how a winner is built in the NFL, we talk about how much of the percentage the quarterback is on the cap. And what Jared Goff's contract was previously, there's not really a lot of examples of teams that win a Super Bowl that pay their quarterback that much. And I still have to, churn the numbers.
Unless they're like an elite tier quarterback, you can get away with it. But
sure, which we've established Goff is not.
Correct.
So that $32 million feels good. I mean, regardless of the cap situation beforehand, it's going to be, alleviating and help things. But what the Lions cap situation was before this morning and that report, I wouldn't say dire, but, what wasn't great forecasting. I mean, we had topics yesterday about, all right, go make some moves. We need this, we need that, from a Lions perspective. But do we have enough money? Is there enough to, get back even replacement level guys lost in free agency and back to that replacement level? What other position groups would take a drop? This helps things considerably so. And, kudos to Goff. Quarterbacks don't have to do this, but putting wins above, financials, he's still handsomely paid, don't get me wrong, but good to see, and that the Lions could broach this. And now it's the ball in the court of Brad Holmes, who we all deem a genius around here. Got to make those moves.
Yeah, I mean, the let Brad Holmes cook is, whether you want that to happen or not, it's about to happen. And I'm just excited that the Lions finally got this done. The league renewal is not till today at 4 p.m., so technically they didn't have to get any real cap space or contracts restructured until today at 4, but of course you can still agree to contracts leading up to that. That's why the Max Crosby deal gets rescinded, because nothing is official until 4 p.m. at today, or at least can start to become official. So I'm just interested because they already did clear cap with Taylor Decker being cut and, of course, the David Montgomery trade. Like, they cleared the cap space to get above that level, but then they didn't have any wiggle room. That's why you're seeing Isaiah Pacheco for that short deal. The Cade Mays contract is a team-friendly deal, but that's exactly what it is. It's not a huge deal that they threw out. And so now that they have this money available, are they going to use it to get some of these extensions done and try to finesse their way around? Can we pay these guys a lot this year while Jared Goff is on this lower amount, and then in the next couple of years his cap hit really hits? Or is this going to be a move where you go get guys that you need this year? Because Rasheed Walker of the Packers, he's probably a top 10 free agent coming into all of free agency, and everybody else has been signed. Like, there's a couple other depth tackle pieces, because I'm just not really in on the Lions drafting a tackle. I think that it's just, you pigeonhole yourself going into the draft of, we're for sure taking a tackle at pick 17. I've never been a fan of that. You're going into a draft where you don't have a top pick. So, I mean, if you're going in with the first overall pick, yeah, you can figure out who you're going to get. At pick 17, you can't go in saying, like, we're drafting a left tackle no matter what. That just seems like a stretch. So I would rather add a guy in free agency. Larry Borum is not going to be that guy. There's a few other veteran-type tackles that I think are out there. Lions maybe could address this if Rasheed Walker is too expensive, because right now Rasheed Walker is projected a 4-year, $88 million contract. That's from The Athletic. Spotrac has him in that $85 to $90 million range as well, which is, of course, expensive, like, no doubt about it. But the Lions know that that's the number one position of need. And you go get a guy that clearly is proven in this league. You take him away from Green Bay as well, which that's a cherry on top of the cake right there. Elijah Wilkinson is another veteran guy, 31-year-old tackle from the Falcons, projected to make around $8 million a year. Could be a guy, started 17 games at right tackle last year, so maybe you'd have to do the move of Penei Sewell, this and that. I want Rasheed Walker. That's the dude that I want. You still would have a little bit of money left over to go address that edge. Al-Qadim Muhammad, they've talked about potentially extending him. I like them getting Cam Jordan. That was a guy that the Ben threw out last year at the trade deadline, if the Saints were willing to move off of him, to go get him as a vet edge. He's only projected to make around $8 million, which is cheaper than Joey Bosa, who's in the short doubled figures. You saw Khalil Mack get that big deal to go back to Los Angeles. Cam Jordan, I think, would be a really fun veteran piece to add. You're definitely only getting 1 year. Like, he's about to retire, but That's a guy that I like. That's a name to watch for a potential Lions ad at edge. But Rasheed Walker, remember the name. I think he is going to be the guy that I'm prioritizing for the Lions. What about Brad Holmes? What's he going to prioritize? Are you comfortable letting Brad Holmes cook? I think that's the number one question this morning because that's what the Lions are going into. Right before today's show, they clear up enough cap space to add some potentially significant players to this 2026 team. And I'm getting the vibe that they're potentially going all in on this season, which is something they haven't done yet as far as this window conversation that we continue to have with Detroit. 989-837-6125. What do you think? Are you cool with Brad Holmes cooking here? Do you like that they cleared up this cap space as far as, are they going to make a huge move? Are they just going to bring back their own guys? Are they going to make a series of moves to add a bunch of depth? Because there's still plenty of different positions of need for Detroit. Let us know, 989-837-6125. You can also comment in our YouTube or Facebook chat. We're live there. Just search 100.9 The Mitt if you want to watch us. John Vicari producing today. No Ben Bosscher for the rest of the week. You're stuck with us. I know Ben's probably got a ton of fuming free agency takes today